From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, country music superstar Clint Black. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Bryan on sound effects, a phone call from Dr. Drew, and a spirited round of the Rotten Tomatoes game. And now, just like Clint Black, he also tried a signature black cowboy hat, but it wouldn't fit over his Jew-fro. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on a mandate. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Bryan.
Bra down, boob up.
I love that Boston song so much. I think that's my favorite Boston song. Little bit of a, not a deep cut, but not the ones you think of immediately.
Not
but,
heavy rotation.
One of my favorite Boston songs. All right. Well, back in studio, had a crazy journey. Had some interesting highs and lows. Probably the craziest, 36-hour travel odyssey I'd ever been on.
Oh, my God.
Well, let's see. I don't know. We were leaving we're leaving Burbank Airport on Garrigus' big jet, and his big jet is a lot bigger than his small jet. It is, I think it's a G4S or something like that. Max Pattis got some pictures.
It's the Venti, not the Grande.
Yes, that tail stab is way, way off the ground.
Damn.
It's a big picture. We're looking at the picture now. It's a big jet. When you look at it from the side, we shot a kind of front side angle. It actually looks a little shorter than it is, but it is a lot of jet. So we piled on to that at 7 a.m. out of Burbank, and we're heading for Nashville. And God, the private jet's so nice. The jet's so nice, but just walking, the schedule with the private jet is what time's the jet leave? 7. How far away is this studio from where the jet is? 15 minutes. Okay, what time do we leave here? 6:45.
Yeah.
And then we'll pull up. Max Pad was a couple minutes late, but we pulled up at, 7:02, 7:03.
Oh, the doors were closed. Next flight.
I was on private jet time.
You just walk right out, walk right through everything, just get right onto that jet. Took off, landed in Nashville, about a 3.5 hour flight. Went directly from the airport at Nashville to the Daily Wire campus. Showed up there, got changed, hung out, little hair and makeup, went and did the Candace Owens show. Finished that, then went to another part of the campus. Candace Owens was a guest on my show. Then by the time we wrapped that whole mess up, we were heading straight to the hotel, but we had a 6:30 early show at Zany, so we didn't have our normal buffer.
But real quick about the Candace Owens show, I listened to it, and there was a bombshell in there that I didn't even know if we were going to get to, but the bombshell of you interviewing Candace Owens, and in the middle of it, August walks into a door.
Oh, yeah.
Literally walks into a door, and it has to be addressed.
A glass door.
There's a glass door. Well, to be fair to August, they had like Duvetine curtains,
Okay.
and they were hanging about 2 feet apart, and then a glass door, but you couldn't see the door. It was just glass. It looked like you're supposed to scoot through the curtains.
It wasn't like someone's kitchen.
No, I went right into the door.
It's very clean.
He was fine.
Adam,
before
talking about the private jet, though, Sonny was so excited. He wanted me to take pictures of him.
Whoa.
He was over the moon until we started moving.
Yeah. Then he got a little air sickness.
Yeah.
Oh,
God. I felt really bad. He was just trying. He couldn't wait for the thing to be over.
He was fine. We had some fun.
Poor kid.
Yeah, he passed out.
Looks like me.
Then I went and hung out, and then I stretched out on the full bed sofa thing and took a nap for about 20 minutes. Then we went straight from Candace Owens' place. Oh, we had to go to Zany's and drop Chris and the equipment off. Then we went through to Nashville, checked into the hotel. That horrible feeling of when you're walking through your room, you have 21 minutes before you're supposed to be in the lobby. I was gassed out.
When you're rushing to sleep, it never works well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to lay my back on this bed for 15 minutes. Sonny, you wake me up in 15 minutes exactly, although I'm never going to sleep. I'm just going to lay there and close my eyes. Then we went down. Then we went to Zany's, did the show, had a great time. Went from Zany's. Jake, who Garagos' son, and a couple of his friends who were on the jet came by, hung out backstage for a few minutes, had a drink, then went to Bourbon Steakhouse, which is awesome, and then ate at Bourbon, and then back to the hotel, probably about 11:30, and then we're going to meet in the lobby at 8 to get our next flight into Florida this time.
Well, at least it's a private jet.
Went from
First class all the way.
Went Southwest, 100% full. 200 people on that plane, 200 seats. You know, it's great. It's when they're telling you the instructions to leave, they're like, and please practice social distancing when you leave.
On
it's
this
like
packed flight.
It's a packed flight. Everyone is packed together. Anyway, then we landed in Florida. I don't know, where'd we land in? Oh wait, Max Petta wasn't even with us. Yeah, we went to different hotels in Florida. Let's see. Thursday, we landed.
This is the first time we looked at the itinerary?
Yeah, we landed.
This is an itinerary.
Yeah, we landed. I don't know where we landed. We'll try to figure out which airport in Florida. Anyway, we landed in Florida, and then the car came to pick us up, and it was a town car that was sent by the Tucker Carlson team. And we had about an hour and 40-minute drive from the airport to get to Tucker's place, which is the studio on the ass end of Florida, way out, middle of nowhere. And the guy, RSW. What is
What city is that?
Southwest Florida International, I guess is where we landed. Anyway, I didn't even know where we were.
How long has Tucker been in Florida?
I don't know.
Because I know he's like a hometown boy here.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's figured it out. And we landed in Fort Myers, and we drove. Now, it's always amusing to me that the town car driver guy had the seat all the way back and reclined.
Sure, he didn't want to disappoint you.
And
your track record.
I used my phone as a kind of measuring stick. I pushed it to see how much room there was between the back seat and the back of this guy's driver's seat. It was about 4.5 inches. I mean, it was just, there's no...
Wow.
We're looking at it now.
Not exaggerating.
It's
that guy hates you.
It's a weird... Now, how
would one get in there?
You drive a town car for a living. Your move is, I will put the seat back to its maximum level, like way past the A-pillar, way past the pillar. Like, you have to climb in and go around the pillar.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to recline the seat. He reclines the seat, and he's like, hey, three adults, come on in. Come and jump in. It's like... How do you think this works? And it's an hour and a half plus drive.
First day on the job.
I tell Sonny, you got to suck it up, man.
You got to suck it up and yell at the driver, or you got to suck it up and get in?
We're looking at a picture. Sonny's knees and calves were smashed against his seat the entire time.
You have a miniature human in Chris Loxamana.
He wasn't with us.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see what the big deal was when I was looking at the pictures.
This guy had his seat reclined and all the way back. It's
in a town car.
It's your job to drive a car. This must crop up from time to time if you're going to move the seat all the way back, right?
I'm not defending him. I want that to be clear. But this is not a diminutive gentleman. This is looks like a big bear of a fella.
No, but we got out of the car, and I was taller than he was.
Really?
Yep.
Looks like a brick shithouse.
He's a hulk of a man.
Carries his weight around the upper chest, kind of a barrel-chested guy. But in the height department, in the length department, no.
Wow.
I was taller than he was. I made sure, and I walked right up to him.
Patting him down.
Can I smell your breath? So he had all the way reclined. Now, I told Sonny, you got to suck it up because this is a good story.
Yep.
And then we got to leave the seat. So when we get out, I'm going to take pictures of it. And the guy was totally oblivious to the whole thing. And so when we got out of the car, it was like taking pictures of his seat all the way back. Now, when we then drove to our next airport, I was like, all right, well, we got it. So I was like, can you move your seat up a little? He's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Customer's king. Like, he's like,
sure says something.
How do you not know what's behind you?
Insane.
And when you're picking up 3 people, Mike had to ride in the front seat. Anyway.
And Sonny's a child, but he's not diminutive.
No,
he's a big boy.
He's a big guy now. So we got to Tucker's like 2 minutes before 3. Here's the travel schedule. It's like 2 or 3 minutes before 3. I'm going to do his show for an hour. He's going to do my show for an hour. The Waze is saying it's 2 hours to the airport, and our flight leaves at 8. So we're just going to power through his show for an hour, turn it around, power through my show for an hour, and then we just immediately run right back out, jump in the car, 2 hours to the airport, and then Delta, first class.
Oh.
First class, the reason I brought this box in is because I'm like, what?
Oh, that's the food offering?
Yes, what is first class these
Vacuum
days?
sealed?
First things first. I know. I'm a broken record with this shit, but I said, once you get to cruising altitude, there's no drink orders or anything before you get to cruise altitude anymore. But I was like, would you like a drink? Let's have a vodka soda water with lemon. Oh, no. Lime. No, we don't have any of it. Everything is this weird COVID safety thing, but I don't know if there's a citrus protocol or they just went, oh, this is a great fucking excuse to go fuck it.
Yeah.
It's basically
The garnish could be contaminated.
what the airlines are doing is like if you ever have that super shitty roommate who doesn't fucking clean after themselves or do their dishes or do jack shit, and then at some point you say to them, could you clean your lasagna pan? It's been in the sink for 4 days. They go, oh, fuck it. Now it's on. Like, forget it now.
Right.
And it's like, what do you mean forget it now? Oh, well, you've insulted His Highness. It's like, well, now no limes for you.
I had that exact experience with this shitty roommate once where he wouldn't do anything. He sat around, watched TV, and didn't do anything, didn't help, didn't contribute. And one day I got tired of it. I was like, Jacob, can you please unload the dishwasher? Can you please unload the dishwasher? He's like, fine. And he made a big deal about it. And he went over there and he walks past me, started unloading it, looks back at me. I'm still standing there. He goes, I'm not your employee, Bryan. No, you're not. You would have been fired long ago if you were.
So
you didn't eat your mystery box.
There is no. Now, this is an 8 o'clock flight and a first class ticket on a 5.5 hour flight. This isn't, we're not coming from Phoenix.
So is the steak or the lobster in there?
They offer you one of two boxes. I said,
Yikes.
Mike, you get one, I'm getting another. What the box contains, the box is the size of a box of Kleenex and about the same weight. It says bar. I don't know what that is. It says potato chips, chocolate sandwich cookies,
Oreos.
crackers,
Is that the Keto Nightmare box?
cheese spread, gummy bears, beef snack sticks, and mints. Like, this is
Tessa's lunch.
I was going to say, this is a five-year-old birthday party.
I can guarantee you those fucking kids on the border in the cages with the Mylar blankets are doing better. What they're getting handed at noon is a hell of a lot better than this. So I just
Cracker open.
brought it to.
And of course, the answer is, save money. But really, once you're eating something, what's the difference between eating the box or eating a fish fillet?
Right. Well, it's first. This is what first class has become. Everybody. So the weird little meat sticks and weird little crackers, and the cheese thing is about the size of a pack of matches, and
that handy wipe is about the second most appetizing thing in there.
Gummy bears.
And the generic name for everything makes it worse. Beef snack.
Boulder Canyon classic sea salt chips. Oh, when I'm on the ground, I will throw the bag at you if it's not Boulder Canyon.
Smoke Gouda, bro.
Yeah, and it's just cheese and crackers and just an Oreo.
But
Oreo.
they didn't call it Oreos.
No.
Chocolate sandwich cookie.
That's right.
Yes. All right.
That's tough stuff, man.
That's fucking sucked. And again, I know it's nothing, but it's like, get one cup and chop up some fucking lemons or limes. People are in first class. They might want a cocktail.
Yeah.
They might want a drink, or they like it with their Diet Coke or something. Just, we don't
We don't do that anymore.
We don't do that anymore. So everyone's looking for an excuse. Is Drew up yet?
Yeah, he's on line one.
Oh, line one. Sorry, I'll get back to the travels. Drew?
Yeah, buddy.
So I saw the text chain from you and Garagos this weekend about you wanting to get involved with the homeless situation in Los Angeles. We have the Los Angeles Times article. I know they were not fans.
Oh, good.
Yeah, not fans of you wanting to get involved with this. It's going so well. I don't know why you got to go come in, show up and muck up the works.
Here's the reality. The reality is the supervisor asked me to be on the committee. I thought this sounds like pulling my eyelashes out. It sounds tedious. I'm really more interested in changing state laws to help people who want to give clinical services to people in the homeless situation. But she kind of talked to me. I thought, I should find out what's going on there. The committee is populated by like 20 people, assistant of an assistant who used to work for. I mean, there's no clinical people whatsoever on the panel. I thought, I'll learn something. Let's go ahead. It's usually a perfunctory, have you ever heard of somebody being appointed to this panel before?
No.
No, it's never been anything. Never, ever. Nor should it ever be. It's just a panel. But something about a clinician going onto the panel is so threatening to them. They're freaking out. It's really something. I just wanted to go in there and learn what they were doing.
All right. Well, we have the article here, Dawson. We'll get into it. From the LA Times, sorry.
Dr. Drew eyed for homeless commission, angering advocates who wonder, is this a joke?
Yeah. By the way,
Dr. Drew.
Whoever wrote that, if it is in fact a joke, is not a skilled, seasoned comedy veteran, because that's a little confusing. Like as a joke, because as a physician who lives in Los Angeles. But anyway.
How dare he?
How dare he?
A Los Angeles County supervisor has recommended a celebrity doctor who has railed against California's mishandling of the homelessness crisis to a local commission, a move that shocked some advocates when they heard the news, thought it was a joke.
I do love when they're shocked. They're shocked. Yeah, this is written by Jacqueline Cosgrove for the Los Angeles Times.
Dr. David Drew Pinsky, more commonly known as Dr. Drew, was recommended by the 5th District Supervisor Catherine Barger, the only Republican on the 5-member board, to Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority.
Here we go.
Oh, that's a problem.
We keep going.
We got a problem.
A 10-member commission appointed by the city and county elected officials. Barger said that she nominated Pinsky because he'll bring a, quote, fresh perspective to the commission because of his vast medical experience and passion for mental health. But critics pounced, saying Pinsky promotes ill-formed and harmful views, including enforcement-focused approach to homelessness, like that scene at Echo Park Lake.
Yeah, that scene where the taxpayers get to use the fucking park again with their fucking kids. That scene,
Yeah.
the
And by the way, the scene where they got them a place to live and services. I'm in favor of a place to live and services. Yes, I am.
Well,
and then I'm interested in them. I'm interested in them being motivated to go get those services. I'm not saying people need to be incarcerated or mandated. They need to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Pinsky made headlines last April after making a series of remarks over a 2-month period that were skeptical of COVID-19, comparing the novel coronavirus to the flu and calling the pandemic a, quote, press-induced panic. He eventually apologized. The remarks were
not for that part.
Right.
It is a press-induced panic.
The remarks were part of a larger trend with Pinsky, said Mark Horvath, founder of nonprofit Invisible People. Even on a surface level, why are you appointing a celebrity doctor? And I use the term doctor loosely. that has recent
Hold on.
activity.
If this douche was talking about Jill Biden, do you think he'd say that? Her doctorate of ethno studies from a junior college? Do you think he would dare to say that? Well, why not? You're an actual physician. All right.
That has
with 30 years of working in a psychiatric hospital.
All right.
Well, you have a recent activity of being a COVID denier, says Horvath, who launched his homeless advocacy group in 2008. Although the commission has authority to make budgetary funding, planning, and programming policy, it's unclear how much power Pinsky would have as an individual. The commission selects the LAHSA executive director, but it doesn't make individual staffing decisions outside of that. Pinsky's appointment is on the agenda for Tuesday's Board of Supervisors meeting. Generally, the board unanimously approves appointments to local boards and commissions at the beginning of its meeting as part of its consent agenda. They are rarely...
Because, let's be clear, you're donating your time. You are giving to the community. This is service stuff.
Well,
never been an issue before.
Tell that to the fat cats in Pasadena.
That's right. And Catherine Barger's also heavily opposed to the outdoor dining ban in November. So she's already on everyone's shit list for being right about something else. Sorry. Go ahead, Dawson.
Pinsky disputes the idea that homelessness is caused primarily by a lack of housing. He said the primary drivers of LA County's homeless crisis is rooted in the lack of services for the treatment of mental illness and drug addiction. Many homeless people with serious mental illnesses, he said, are unable to recognize their illness and its effect on their lives. Something is dreadfully wrong and people are dying, said Pinsky, who lives in Pasadena. That's my biggest concern. When I go out and talk to homeless people, I encounter my patients almost exclusively. That doesn't mean that's all that's out there. In speeches and on his podcast, Pinsky has railed against California's involuntary commitment law for restricting commitments to only the most seriously ill people. He has also discussed the need to enforce drug laws to get homeless people with substance abuse disorders into treatment. Those addicted to drugs need leverage, the risk of a conviction, hanging over them to motivate them into treatment, he has said. In an interview, Pinsky said he believes in housing people, but is frustrated by the public perception that giving someone housing alone will end the crisis. I don't think most people in the public understand what is really needed and the depths of services that are required to solve homelessness, he said.
This is the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah, so far I'm trying to figure out what the controversy is.
He should be committed.
Yeah.
It's all a joke. Homeless advocate Mike Dickerson,
Here comes the pearls of wisdom.
K-Town for All co-founder, said Pinsky perpetuates a dangerous myth that the majority of homeless people don't need housing as much as they need mental health treatment. People who can't pay their rent because they lost a job or suffered a serious personal loss aren't homeless because of a mental illness,
Yeah.
he said.
I remember that time my grandmother died, so I moved to the park and started slamming smack. You guys remember that?
Yeah, I did the same
Personal
thing.
losses are a
Dark
big
days.
Did the
issue.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Dickerson said Pinsky is hostile to research that runs counter to his claims.
The research and what his claim that these people need help and services?
Well,
Here's what I told the person who wrote this article. It was Jacqueline something.
yeah.
I told her, I said, I don't know what the percentage of mental illness is. I don't know if it's 5% or 85%, but it's 5%. There's still 5,000 people that aren't getting services.
Jacqueline Cosgrove.
What,
Sorry,
yeah,
there's a little.
what are we talking about? I'm interested in helping people that need help. That's it. I go in with an open heart and open mind to try to learn as much as I can. That is it. I mean, and I don't.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's funny. There's a little more to this. I think where the advocate is talking about sobriety.
Do I have to listen?
That's good. Yeah, it's good sobriety. Do you have it there, Dawson? It's right. Should be right there. It should be
Where
the
he says
line
that
under
everybody's
it.
sober on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elevating someone to that position is kind of inherently saying, this is someone who is qualified and has expertise on the issue of homelessness, Dickerson said. I don't think that's an accurate portrayal of Dr. Drew and his background. The majority of homeless people are sober.
The majority are sober.
That's a
Did you
bold
guys
statement.
know that?
I did not know that.
Wow.
The majority are kids under 16 years old.
Like at some point during the day?
I don't know when they're looking for their next hit of fentanyl. Maybe they're sober at some point. She may be right. He may be right. I was literally driving through a homeless encampment. I was talking to Matt DeAndrea the day before I heard this, and I said, I never see homeless kids. And he said, I never see homeless kids here. Every time I talk to someone, I go, I never see kids.
Right.
But the majority are sober and children,
Wow.
according to this.
I mean, couldn't she have picked Kim Kardashian? Said Horvath.
Actually, Kim gets a lot of stuff done in
She does.
Washington.
Yeah.
When Horvath tweeted about Barger's recommendation of Pinsky on social media, many thought he was joking, he said. In a social media support group for people experiencing homelessness, many expressed dismay.
All right.
They don't like Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
I'll give you the censored version,
Well,
he said in the comments.
Let's work this way. First off, whatever you think of Dr. Drew or whatever you think about his planned tactics or approach, it should first be admitted that you guys are doing a fucking piss poor job on this homeless issue. You guys are talking about this like you have things under control. You're making progress.
Don't come in
You're
and rock
riding
the boat,
ship.
man.
Whatever you've done, and I suspect it's nothing, has exacerbated the problem. So you haven't done jack fucking squat to stop this problem. And also, is there a human being you know who lost their job or experienced family tragedy who then went and slept outside in the next couple of days or weeks?
I do
Literally
not.
said, I'm going outdoors to sleep outside. And is there a human you know, anyone listening, if we just took away your job and we took away all your earthly belongings, that you would still go sleep outside the next day? I would argue all of us would go somewhere. Friend, family, whatever, sofa surf, couch surf, whatever it is. We would go somewhere. Obviously, there's big-time mental issues and big-time substance issues. And they're just focusing on the part where they don't have a house. Seems the worst way to solve a problem. I mean, if you were trying to figure out what's going on with caribou migration, what if you went about it this way?
It'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd be the world's worst
Yep.
researcher. And that's the thing. Like, I guess it depends which way you're clicking the kaleidoscope, because the idea that it just give somebody who's suffering from addiction and mental illness a house seems incredibly cruel.
So, Drew.
Well, the biggest part
Yes.
is they'll die. That's the part that's
Right.
I mean, they're losing. My question to all these people is, what is the body count need to be before
Right.
you're willing to try something different? But I don't know what that different is until I get in there and look and hear and listen and learn. I'll be very quiet for a long time while I try to figure out, if there's anything I can offer.
Well-
if there isn't, I'll keep my mouth shut.
If you pass, I mean, they got to vote on it, right?
Yeah, right.
Do you think they'll pass
Who
you
knows what
along?
settles in. I have no idea. I don't think it's ever happened before that somebody hasn't been passed through.
Okay.
So-
Well, catch us up. I know you.
Doesn't make history.
Yeah.
I know you got a dinner to attend.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.
All right. Well, maybe there'll be a chapter 2 on Tuesday when I don't
Yeah.
when I don't have to donate my time. Jesus.
Jeez.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Ugh, boy. All right. Poor. And by the way, is anyone done less as a homeless advocate than who was an advocate for a group? You
No.
know what I mean? Like, the people who do the most are like the big cat advocates. The
Yeah,
crazy chick who
that's right.
buys the land outside of
Yeah.
Simi Valley
Yeah.
and houses all the big cats.
Run
Like,
free.
that is an example of do the most. The homeless advocates do the least.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are getting up and breaking up every attempt to try to do something.
You're right. And just because you mentioned it, who's Melanie Griffith's mother?
Tippi Hedren.
That's Tippi
Yeah,
Hedren.
that's right. Oh,
that's,
yeah.
That's her.
They made that movie Roar.
The big cat
That's right.
sanctuary.
All right, so we'll keep you posted on that. Back to the Odyssey. So,
Still going.
it wasn't that bad. The flight was like 5.5 hours. We had our box of carbs, just pure. And by the way, the least satisfying carbs ever in a box in first class on a Delta flight. Like, it was not a small plane. It was a
Yeah.
regular plane, 5.5 hour flight. Had a few drinks and I got some Mike stories. Mike, so this is vintage and classic Mike. I had 2 vintage and classic Mikes.
You gonna finish that?
Mike announced when we rolled in. I rolled in here with Sonny about 6:45. Max Pata was a couple minutes late. We're waiting around, and Mike had announced that he'd been here since 5. Maybe
Why?
5:15.
You sleep there?
Right.
Did you get time wrong?
He no. He said he's coming from Orange County. You never tell with the traffic. Got to beat the traffic. Then I
5
said,
in the morning?
Does he have Waze?
I said, Mike, if you would get Waze, he fights me on Waze every time. I go, if you get Waze, then you can decide. It'll tell you when you're going to arrive, and you can just back time it and leave when it's
Right.
time
At that
when you're going to
moment.
arrive.
From that day. It doesn't have to be today.
Right. He's like, yeah, I know, but the longer you wait, the more traffic.
No.
And I go, yeah, okay, but if you get the Waze,
It accounts for that.
It will tell
it'll work
you.
that in. But yeah, I don't want to leave late and hit all the traffic. Then he explained that he walked around the parking lot of Home Depot and was asked to leave in the dark. And then he walked around the CarMax parking lot, 4:45,
Just
5
to get his
o'clock.
steps in, or
Had a couple-
what?
He had a couple hours to kill. It was the wee hours. It was dark. He had nowhere to go.
Wow.
He was shooed off of both lots. And then when I said to him, Mike, just get the fucking Waze. It'll tell you when to leave, and then you can just back time
Yes.
it. And he's like, yeah, I'm not falling prey to that.
Much like the city commission on homelessness, it's the devil you know. Like,
Right.
God forbid you tell them, or suggest, hey,
Yeah.
here's a way to improve things. No, we're good.
Right.
Did somebody say, will you get this guy in golf pants and somebody else's shoes off of our property?
So then now, but that's not classic Mike. This is classic Mike. So we're now leaving Tucker's place, which he rides a bicycle to barefoot or in flip-flops, and does a show. It's diabolical.
Yeah, he doesn't like cars.
Now we TV sets or anything. Anyway, we jump in the car. It's 5 o'clock. We got a 2-hour ways to make it to the airport. Flight leaves at 8. It's just boom, hustle, go. Mike's sitting up front doing what he's doing. He's like booking whatever.
Great.
And he's like, who you got? Clint Black tomorrow. Now, I've had such a whirlwind 36 hours. I'm not totally sure on what the next day is but I have some thoughts. And when I have thoughts, you should listen. So he goes, we get Clint Black. He's we're gonna get him at 12 o'clock. We'll have him for a half hour. I go, 12 o'clock. I think we got reasonable doubt. I got to do this. I got to do that. I think I'm booked at 12 o'clock. He's like, no, you're open. I'm looking at the schedule. And I go, are you sure, Mike? Because I don't think I'm open at 12 o'clock. And he goes, no, I'm looking at it. We got 12. And I go, okay.
Pencil
well,
it in.
I'm
And it all
pretty
worked
sure.
out. Coming up next.
I looked at the schedule that said 12 o'clock. I had to do something. He goes, nah, you're open.
Oh.
I go, okay.
I mean, he's the one with the mini computer in front of him.
He's looking at the schedule. Then the next day, we get into LAX at 11:30. It's more crowded than I've ever seen LAX.
Wow.
I cannot figure it out. It's Thursday nights, about 11:30 at night, and it is as packed or more packed than I've ever seen it.
Were people coming back from
Spring break was my thought.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no
still that many
idea, but
people.
it was jam-packed. Got home about 1 o'clock or 12:30, 1 o'clock, went to bed at 1:30, blah, blah, blah. Got up the next morning, was looking at my schedule. 12 o'clock, I got an interview with the blah, 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 blah. So I call Mike, and I go, hey, Mike, when's Clint Black? He's like, 12 o'clock. I go, well, I'm looking at my schedule, and I'm booked on this news thing at 12 o'clock. And he's like, yeah, that just came in. I go, no, Mike, remember we were in the car and I was telling you, I know, we was open and then we just got the email saying, so I go, Mike, the schedule was delivered on Wednesday. You said I know, I just got the email, the 12 o'clock one was late.
Chris, did it just pop up?
Just now?
Did it just pop then on Friday morning?
Oh, I didn't even know about the Clint Black thing till I got in on Friday. Yeah.
Perfect.
No, it was not. The schedule was sent on Wednesday. I looked at it. It wouldn't have worked with Clint Black. The notion that there was a second schedule that was sent that had noon wide open.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to send
It's
schedules.
So August and myself are on a big schedule that Matt Fondelier sends out that has an Adam schedule for the day. August is definitely on the schedule, and it was sent out.
Yeah, it was sent out. Now, here's my whole thing. You have to decide. Would you like to keep arguing about this? All right. You scoff. But it's the only real modality for correction.
It seems like all you can do is keep arguing about this.
But as long,
There's no resolution.
I'm pretty tired at this point, and Clint Black has been slotted in, and we're gonna reshuffle the other thing, so I can keep going down the road where everyone got the schedule on Wednesday, or I can keep walking at this point, and I choose to keep walking, but there is then no modality for correction for the next time if we're working under the auspices of this was a late-breaking schedule that was sent that wasn't.
No way to predict.
Right. You guys have that?
Thankfully, no.
Do the people who argue with you know that if I can argue for I can filibuster for 2 rounds, the person's just going to go away shaking their head. They're not going to ever pull up stuff or send me stuff or do any of that. And by the way, if you do that with Mike, it still doesn't mean you're going to get to where you need to go.
You might be back farther than you started.
You could be back farther. Yes.
But on the other side, if we could bottle and sell August confidence, I would buy a pallet of it.
He should be a speaker. He should be a motivational
Oh my
speaker.
God! If he's like, oh really? Well, let me check. Or nope, it's good. I would love to have a little more of that in my personality.
Right, because what he's selling to me is he's selling this. This is his offering. He says, let's do Clint Black Friday noon. I say, I looked at the schedule. I think I'm booked Friday noon. He says, no, you're not. I say, check again, because I saw the schedule and I'm booked for something else at Friday noon. Then he waits 24 hours and he speaks to me and says, you were booked Friday at noon, but that was only on the later schedule.
Right.
Oh,
That was sent later.
News,
Yeah. I couldn't have known.
How would I know?
Yeah.
Of course, it falls apart in the face of logic.
Yes. All right. So back from that odyssey, I'll tell you about Tommy John. Not sure what to get for mom this Mother's Day. Tommy John's ultra soft loungewear makes the perfect gift. While you're at it, get yourself a fresh pair of Tommy John underwear, too.
What you got?
where
Ooh,
am I?
navy.
Navy right now. And the T-shirt. Dozens of comfort innovations. Breathable, lightweight, moisture-wicking fabric. 4 times the stretch of competing brands. Once you go with Tommy John, you're never going back. Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have converts, and that is true. You do not leave the house without your Tommy Johns. And, of course, it's the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free. Guaranteed, it is the best. It is Tommy John. Right, Dawson?
Right now, get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/Adam. That's 20% off your first order of underwear and loungewear at TommyJohn.com/Adam. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
All right, we have the Rotten Tomatoes game to play. I have half a review on Interstellar.
Oh, I'm very curious. That's one of my favorite movies.
Wait, half for you because you saw half?
Yes, I have.
Oh, this is not good.
Oh, wait a second.
And-
It's not like
Not
2
gonna
different
pay off,
movies. Yeah,
yeah.
it's 2 movies in one.
And, oh, God. What's the one that's nominated for the Academy Award now with potential girl?
Oh,
Promising
Promising
Young
Young Woman.
Promising Young Woman. I saw that
I'm
on the
very
plane.
curious.
Mike doesn't have earbuds for the plane.
Oh, God.
So he just watched soundless movies. And
Silent film.
And
Always.
I'm dumber than him because I just watch his screen, and I had earbuds in my bag, but after 3 hours, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to find my earbuds and watch a movie like a regular
The
person.
best is like I asked one time Mike was watching something like, "Oh, how was?" Like, dude, that movie sucks. Like he was able to like give me a review on the movie.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I love him so
My
much.
dinner with Andre, my ass. The movie blows. 2 dudes hanging out, chowing down. All right, we'll take a
movie sucks.
deep cut. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and do Rotten Tomatoes right after this.
Listen to that noise. It's a high falsetto voice. It can only mean one thing, and you can feel it.
Gossip names of flicks, and the gang makes their picks, guessing if it's rotten or fresh.
If they guess it exactly, we'll get a bonus 5.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game. You know how we do it. Give me the Rotten Tomatoes game. Now it's time to play it.
Well, Interstellar real quick.
Yes.
Enjoyed the first half that I saw. Just kind of, Sonny and I ran out of steam. I have a
It's a long movie.
question for you guys.
Yeah.
I've seen it many times.
Me too.
McConaughey with the jet black hair started to bump on me, but there's 2 reasons, and then one's a sort of aesthetic and then one's a philosophical thing. You know, these guys are playing this kind of Haggerty, Dust Bowl-y
Yeah.
kind of whatever guys. The hair looks perfect. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, no, you got the kids and the old man and all the driving the pickup truck. A little gray
little
creeping
salt
in
and
around the
pepper.
temples at some point. But when guys swap hair color, for me, it's like a 555 number thing. It kind of pulls me out because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, why McConaughey's hair isn't that color? And then I go, why did he choose that color?
Yeah.
And then what was the thought process or whatever?
My only thought, and I can't remember specifically, but because you didn't see the second half of the movie, you're not going to follow. But Gina,
Yes.
maybe it was done to heighten the juxtaposition of the extreme age difference, because there's some black hole shit in the second half
Yeah.
where like people
Right,
age certain,
right.
at certain
Right.
different rates.
That's yes. I
So I
think that
think-
Bryan probably just answered that question because there's a lot of not time jumps, but like
No, kind of. Well, I mean, for example, there's a great sequence where they go. You get the part where they go to a different planet, the water planet, and they come back, and the other guy's aged like 50 or
Right.
like
Yep.
20 years. And that was a great sequence.
And did you know I saw this little like little director's cut thing about that every like minute there's a ticking sound in that to show like that that 3 years has
Oh,
gone
really?
by. Yeah,
Well,
lots
I'm
of little
in-
nuggets in there.
I'm enjoying it so
It's
far.
great.
Did you get to the part with I would just say the cameo from the actor who was not announced?
No.
All right, well, enjoy
Okay.
that.
Yeah, you will.
I'm just off the water planet, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
We
We got
should
a ways
enjoy.
to go.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Dawson.
And Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Felt it was good. Actually, as I was watching it, it kind of reminded me of my movie, The Hammer. Just kind of a small, lower budget, but moved along, same length, same, not a bunch of star power, anything. I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and they're both. Mine was 90 with the audience. That one was 89. It was like it felt to me like the same size movie, but then it also felt like Academy Award nomination.
No.
Doesn't feel like best film. Like
I had the
best
same-
films used to be films. You
I
know
had the
what I mean?
exact same thought, which was good movie, undeniably good, possibly a very good movie. But when it was announced for Best Picture, I was like, really?
I totally agree. But was anyone else kind of bummed out by the ending?
Yeah,
The very end?
Yeah. Well, no, not the
very
very
end was
end.
cool, I
But
thought.
the preliminary ending that bummed me out.
yeah. It was held my interest, and I liked it. I felt like it scored a lot of style points because of the subject matter. I feel like that was like a subject, like a kind of revengey thing, and it felt good or satisfying. But it did not feel like Best Picture material to me.
Totally agree. But the other thing that I thought was really unique about this type of revenge story was it wasn't ever a violent revenge. It was a mind fuck revenge, like with the Connie Britton or whatever. Like I loved the nuance of the revenge.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, well, we're 1 week away from the Oscars. Yeah. So in honor of that, and as a bookend to last week's game involving movies named after songs, this week we're going to tackle movies that won the Oscar for Best Original Song.
This is good because there's a wide range of quality.
We begin with the story of a complicated man. He's a sex machine to all the chicks, and yet no one understands him but his woman. You know he'd risk his neck for his brother man. After all, he's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about. Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Richard Roundtree stars in this Oscar winner for Best Song in 71, Shaft.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Isaac Hayes, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
sing the song.
What? Can you read the slug line, Gina?
Yeah. The mob wanted Harlem back. They got Shaft up to here.
All right, he's got a big dick.
Now, this is one of those movies where you really have no idea what the movie was because the song
Yeah.
just completely overshadowed
Like
it.
Superfly.
Right.
Like the song
Yeah.
was forever and the movie's neither here nor there.
Right. All
Shaft's his name. Shaft's his game.
How high was the guy who wrote that? Probably a diminutive Jewish
Makes
guy who wrote
perfect
that.
sense.
All right.
God, I have no clue. I don't know where to start.
I've probably seen half this movie. These movies are so slow
They're
and
not,
they're kind of low
yeah.
budget and there's really nothing about them.
They're not that good.
All right. But a song can influence a movie. I mean, if they really like it. And it's a strong black man taking
True.
Harlem back, I should say.
Boy,
All right. I have no idea. You guys locked in?
I guess.
I said 57.
Oh, I'm right there with you. Just Fresh is 61. I'll got some retroactive positive.
I said just fresh at 66.
Shaft is certified fresh at 88%.
Oh.
Audience
But
at
the
68.
people.
That's people who saw it based on, Shaft is a classic. And it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think there's some affirmative action going on here. 88. Woo. All right.
Back in the 1990s, Disney absolutely crushed the best song category year after year. Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, A Whole New World from Aladdin, Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King, and You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan all took home statues. Actually, there's one more from that decade starring the vocal talents of Mel Gibson, though he didn't sing the song.
Oh, yep. Pocahontas, yeah.
Featuring the Oscar-winning track Colors of the Wind from 1995, Pocahontas.
Vanessa
Of
Williams.
all those songs, this is the the least of them all.
All right. So, what year's Pocahontas?
95.
Have you ever seen a wolf cry for the buckhorn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grins? Can you sing with all the colors of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
Now, how do you know all these lyrics?
It's Disney.
Okay. All right.
Chris was singing along with you. Chris knows the words as well.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
What's wrong with a few tunes that people recognize from their youth?
A nice ballad.
I didn't know people knew that one.
Oh, evidently they do.
Yeah, everybody knows it.
Is this a joke?
Is this Vanessa Williams? Is that?
She does the pop version.
Oh, okay. This doesn't sound like her. All right. Where people weren't really woke, we didn't have to punish people for this for some reason, cultural appropriation or something, or did we?
No,
we didn't.
95.
We didn't have to do that. So everyone likes it, and we could just sit back and enjoy it. And I haven't seen it, and I don't know if it's a classic, but it's Disney. So I say 83.
Right there with him. 87.
87.
I don't think, people liked it. I don't know if they loved it. I said 79.
Pocahontas is rotten
Really?
at 55%.
I am shocked. This is not a bad movie.
Wow. In fact, it's quite woke for its time.
Wow. And Shaft, 88, everybody. What a world we're living in.
That's one of the more shocking scores in this game.
Wow.
I never would have guessed Pocahontas was rotten.
That's crazy.
Were some of these later woke reviews? I wonder what they were at the time.
It should be the opposite. It's people taking the land from the Native Americans and how wrong that was.
It kind of Disneyfies it.
Of course they do. It's Disney.
We're now just sort of at the point where if you try to use Native American people for blah, 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 then there's an issue.
Okay.
None of us are doing very well so far.
Well, it was technically Eminem who won the first Best Song Oscar for a rap song back in 2002.
No, this is 3-6
I know.
But the one we remember came out 3 years later. It's a song that tells you everything you need to know about the struggles of love right in the title. It's hard out here for a pimp. Of course, the song is prominently featured in this film about a hustler who hopes to transform his criminal life into a record deal. Terrence Howard and Anthony Anderson lead the cast of 2005's Hustle and Flow.
Can I tell you why I'm so angry that 3-6 Mafia won that year? Because they were up against Dolly Parton, who did Travelin' Through for Transamerica. And that song is so incredible. It still gives me chills. And 3-6 Mafia took the Oscar from Dolly Parton before everybody loved Dolly Parton again.
Hate crime. Yeah. All right. Well,
it's a great song.
The critics had to like movies like this, right? Okay.
Made what's his face a star, Terrence
Yeah,
Howard.
where's he been?
I heard he's hard to work with.
Ah,
Well, he was in the first Avengers movie,
And not the
Iron
second.
Man, and not anymore.
interesting.
He was so weird in was he in the first
He
Iron
was
Man?
in Iron Man, yeah.
The
He was
first one?
Rhodes. Yeah, he was his.
He was
melting.
weirdly low energy and weird. Like I just thought that's a weird casting call. Like it's weird. I shouldn't keep saying weird, but like what you don't want in a movie is when like somebody pops up and in the middle of the movie you're going, why did they cast him for that?
Yeah.
That was my Tarantino popping up in Pulp Fiction. I was like, who is this guy? Why is he in
He's
this
not a
movie?
very good actor.
Oh, that
He's not
makes
good.
sense.
This guy's not good.
Right.
I mean, Jimmy and I saw a sneak preview of Pulp Fiction, and we walked out of the mini movie theater on Sunset, and we're like, I love everything about it. Who was that guy who played the guy who had the house in Van Nuys? Why was he... Every single person is the greatest actor in the world in
He's out of
this
place.
movie.
And that guy.
Who was that guy?
Yep.
And, all right,
I get it.
you're allowed to do it, but... Okay, so... All right, the critics had to love this. I don't think I saw it, but they feel like they
right.
had to love it. Would you? It's good, Gina?
I'm locked in.
All right. I'm going to say 88.
My pen's running out of ink, but that's an 83.
83.
I stuck with my Pocahontas guess and stayed with 79.
Hustle and Flow is certified fresh
Jesus.
at 82.
Okay.
Needed that.
Across the board, 82.
The bad news that we're all aware of is that Top Gun Maverick has been pushed back again to November. But the good news is you can still watch the original and enjoy it in all its glory. Back in 1986, the film was nominated for Best Editing, Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, but the only statue the film took home was for Best Original Song,
Definitive Tool tune.
Take My Breath Away by Berlin.
Fucking slaps.
Wait, they didn't win sound editing for Top Gun?
Seriously.
Tom Cruise.
Who beat them?
Oh, really?
Val Kilmer and Kelly McGillis
I
star.
guess Platoon.
1986's Top Gun.
All right. Well, let's see.
Like, we love it, but
Yeah.
what can it really get?
This is very rah-rah America. That's and it's not a great. I mean, it's
This
a
is the
fun
Reagan
film.
80s, though. This is 86.
Yeah.
Playing
sure.
with the boys.
Fucking
Yeah.
A.
All right, let's see.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's weird when these perennial all-stars aren't really all-stars. I mean, they're perennial all-stars,
Not
but they're
critical
not
all-stars.
critical all-stars. But everyone loves them because you know what? It's basically it's like a sloppy Joe or you know, mac and cheese or something. Like
Right.
no Michelin-rated
Right.
chef is going to call it good, but it's good. It's comfort food,
Right.
you know?
Enjoyable.
You can't elevate Top Gun.
Right. All right. Is it even fresh? Okay.
That would be heartbreaking.
I'm going to say just fresh at 66.
I went just rotten at 49.
Ooh.
I have high hopes, 72.
Top Gun is rotten
Yes!
at 56%.
Come on.
All right.
And Aliens beat Top Gun for best
Okay.
cinema.
You know what?
Okay.
Justified.
Yeah.
Justified.
Yeah. Yeah, people have it at 83. 'cause
Wow.
It's a people
Crowd
thing.
pleaser.
Yeah.
It's a tough game.
And just when you thought you couldn't find a more iconic movie song from the 80s, just 1 year after Top Gun, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey burned up the dance floor to a song that's been played virtually at every wedding ever since.
True.
You know, week after week, when we work on the Rotten Tomatoes game, our hope is that by the end, you say to yourself, I've had the time of my life. Well, did you? From 1987, Dirty Dancing.
God, it's right in my wheelhouse.
I sort of decided I didn't need to see this.
I finally saw it like maybe 2 years ago. I hated it.
It's so
I
good.
hated it so
It's
much.
so good.
so
a
stupid.
coming of age story that you can't tell if it's in the 50s or the 80s.
So
it's
stupid.
perfect.
All right. Well, Bryan has a lead.
Do I?
I think you do. Or maybe Gina does.
pretty Definitely
I don't-
not.
I don't normally pay attention to her
Thank
scores.
you.
But Bryan, I think, has a lead. Oh, no. I think now this is perfect because there's a world to my right where this is a 81 through
Classic.
84, and there's a world to
Absolutely.
my left where this is a mid 40s.
Yeah.
And I'm going.
I don't know.
I'm thinking about the theme. Young Jewish.
What do you
girl.
know from the theme?
I know Jennifer Grey had the hots for me when she came in and did Loveline.
That's
a
a
million years
big
ago.
deal.
There were probably 3 or 4 actresses that made their intentions clear. I feel like she was one of them from back in the
Damn.
day. Just a few. Let's see.
Okay,
All right.
Hold on.
Every pen here is dead.
I'm gonna say. You okay,
Okay.
Bryan?
I'm locked in.
I am.
All right. I feel like I have to get this dead nuts on, otherwise it's not going to work. With a 74.
Oh boy, this is where we separate the men from the boys. I played this game long enough to know when Adam Carolla throws out a score, you go with that score. Mid 40s, 47.
Wow. Well, I still haven't learned my lesson because I would give it an 84, but I got a little gun shy. I know not everyone loves it as much as I do. 69.
We have a 5-point
No,
deduction.
let's get out of here.
Dirty Dancing is fresh
Damn it.
at 69.
No.
Look at the people, 90%.
Gina may have stolen this
Oh,
one.
that feels great.
Hurtful. Hurtful.
Turnabout is fair play, my friend.
Indeed.
Gina Grad, congratulations on making the podium again. Bald Bryan, is this a joke? Coming in with a score of
Be ugly.
89.
Ooh, 5.
Certified fresh.
Yeah.
Adam Carolla edging the bald one out with a score of 80. And putting Bryan in that coveted third place position. Gina Grad takes the win with a score of 60.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, it's been a while.
You know how we do it.
Is this a joke?
All right. Well, I'll tell you, Cranky Anchors is returning. I'll tell you about that in a second. And we'll do the news in a second. First, I'll tell you about Signal Wire, powering the future of remote business communications. A major TV studio recently needed remote actors to re-record and dub their lines. They use Signal Wire's low latency audio and video tech with virtually no sound or video lag. Signal Wire's design mimics the in-office experience, offering quick, informal, unscheduled interactions that are critical to employee productivity and solidifying company culture. It's an amazing, amazing technology. I was on the phone with 15 of these guys at a certain point for like half hour. We would go to different rooms and open up different rooms, talk about remote business possibilities. Smart businesses use Signal Wire to future-proof their businesses. Sign up before April 30th at signalwire.com with the code ADAM, and they'll buy lunch for your first team meeting. Go to signalwire.com for terms and conditions. That's signalwire.com. Use the code ADAM. It's amazing technology, and get the lunch. Signalwire.com. All right, let's see. Cranky Anchors is coming back. Did you say it was May 5th?
Yeah, that's what the promo said. Yeah.
Date on Comedy Central. Of course, Kimmel's doing it. I'm doing it. Tracy Morgan. Melissa Villasenor.
Oh, God, I bet she's amazing.
I love her. I'm a fan of hers.
How many insane accents and impressions did she do?
I wasn't in on her recording session, so I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
Can I tell you one that I've heard her do that I would never have thought for someone to do, but she kills it? Lily Tomlin. She's incredible, Lily Tomlin.
Oh, yeah. She's quietly insanely talented,
Yes.
but sort of in a low-key
Yes.
package. Yeah. Anna Murphy from Schitt's Creek is
nice.
involved. Nealon. Punky Johnson from SNL. And then your Tiffany Haddishes and your Natasha Leggeros and your Bobby Moynahans and your Kyle Dunnigans and Chelsea
great.
Peretti and lots of big names. So that's coming soon. All right, let's take ourselves a quick break. We'll come back and do the news right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina. Grad. Breaking, viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina. Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden. Kamala. Meet news with Gina. Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Got some piping hot Jake Paul news. Defeated MMA world champion Ben Askren in a first-round knockout that was scheduled as an 8-round cruiserweight fight on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view. So here is the MMAfighting.com play-by-play. I'm going to read it to you. It's a total of 7 sentences, the entire play-by-play. So round 1. Askren immediately advances, but Paul ties him up. He's keeping his hands high and his glove extended in Paul's face. Paul backs him up with a 1-2. Paul looking to work the body. He stings Askren, then goes back to the head. Huge right hand lands for Paul. Askren hits the mat hard, but looks to be on his way back up. The referee waves it off. The one is over. This one is over. And we have it. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. It's just a big overhand right. But Jake Paul's shooting jabs out there.
And it's
high and low.
interesting. You'll see the ref asks Ben to walk forward, and he kind of does, but then he drifts to the side. And I'm assuming that's when the ref said, we're done here. So here's like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, he caught him clean. You know, you should hang out on the ground for 10 seconds and not get up in 3 seconds because you'll be able to get your bearings back a little bit.
Jake's ready to keep tagging him. And now the ref, I don't know what he's wearing, but the ref says, come on over.
He
He's
kind of lurched forward. I got to say this. A guy who has, 21, 22 MMA fights under his belt, you let that guy go.
Right.
If this is a celebrity fight and you got...
You step in.
Yeah, this ain't that. This guy's been fighting for years. You know what I mean? You can let... He's going to get knocked out, but you can let it go.
I was going to say, what do you think would have happened?
He's going to get knocked out, but he's going to take more punishment.
Right.
But guys, you kind of earn your right, if you've done it for a long time, to kind of go out on your shield.
Yeah.
When the guy asks you if you're okay and you nod and you walk toward them, even if it's gingerly, you got to let it go. I mean, you may not want to see it, but again, you're dealing with a really, I mean, not a seasoned wrestler and a seasoned MMA guy who said, I can go. So.
Do you think it's possible, here's my conspiracy theory, that somebody said to the ref, like, basically do what you did so Ben could be like, okay, I was happy to keep going, but the ref wouldn't let me. And that way it keeps the clout.
There's a kind of, you can tell when a guy doesn't want to fight sometimes, and they can kind of project that through their eyes and their sort of body language, and they don't protest too much when they wave it off. And also you just got knocked out. So your electrical circuits are kind of firing everywhere. You're not feeling your feet right. I mean, you're in a state. It's like getting into a car accident or something, getting out of the car.
Getting punched to the ground.
Or getting punched to the ground. So it's a good, clean knockout. It's always fun. I was watching the fight, and I was watching Ben, and Ben was kind of like doing that move where he holds his left hand out, like in front of him, sort of. And if you're training somebody, you have to go, no good fighter's ever done that, or it's never worked. It just that you're holding your hand in front of you, like it doesn't work. Like, okay, like you're a wrestler or your background is NCAA wrestling, or you have this experience, or you're a grappler, whatever. This is a boxing match. You can go watch all the film of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Marvin Hagler. You're never going to see them holding their jab out. You're not going to see it. So I don't know why we're doing this.
It's very Three Stooges when you put it that way. Like somebody's going to put their head up and try and hit him.
Kind of, and you're also kind of signaling to the other guy that you're not really going to use that hand.
I was going to say you eliminated that as a weapon.
You did. Yeah, you do. It's sort of like seeing him take the hammer on a pistol and uncock it and move it back. It's kind of that. So anyway, I don't know what Ben has to retire after this. Like I can't see any more MMA action for him. That's that.
But this wasn't MMA. I mean, does that help him at all?
He's been knocked out his last couple MMA fights.
Yeah.
It just didn't. He was in one league. He tried to go to the UFC. It didn't work out. Then he took this fight, and it's just
poor guy.
He didn't seem particularly in shape, which is a kind of a in shape for fighters, like dressing for a date.
No, you're going to do it or not.
Dude shows up in flip-flops. Like
it's a harbinger.
He ain't that into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you show up a little out of shape.
Yeah.
You're just not. It means you haven't been dedicating yourself for the last 2 months.
But I think I read that either way, he got $500,000, so he was in decent spirits in the locker room anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't care.
Right. Yeah. He's looking pretty dad body in this
dad bod.
in this shot. Which you don't hold it against a guy at the park or the beach, but when you're going, it just means he hasn't been doing all the training that it would take to win a fight like this.
Is that a buffer? Is that Michael Buffer?
Yeah. There's two buffers.
There's two
Bruce
buffers.
and Michael.
There's Bruce and Michael. And it's kind of interesting that Michael has kind of overtaken Bruce.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of the whole UFC thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the only fight this weekend. A high school girls' basketball game erupted in this violent brawl when an argument between one of the referees and a coach it was a heated blowout. I'll show it to you in a minute. So,
definitely not a Jew.
Right. So I'm just going to tell you how it started. So the official was caught on video throwing a punch at a spectator because he was like kind of getting in his face and filming him because you'll see. But like the ref and the coach are yelling at each other and they kind of won't let it go. There's a guy filming. The ref gets pissed, throws a punch. The ref gets body slammed to the ground, then attacked by one of the girls, one of the basketball players. So
I think women are fighting more than men at this particular juncture in our society.
Yeah.
I think if you go back to 1921, it was 96% of men throwing down and only 4% women. You've come a long way, baby.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think if you went back and just examined crime statistics of the last 2 years, I think women have finally, it's a milestone, but they have passed men for physical altercations.
I think you might be right. Here's a play-by-play of the event. It's narrated by this guy on Twitter that goes by Young Mantis. It's pretty hilarious.
I hope he's enthusiastic and black if he's going to be narrating
He's
this.
neither.
Oh, man.
It's very funny.
out with the team. They are not very happy. Oh, we got a man here filming the referee. As they say these days, video didn't happen. Well, we'll see it now. And the ref swings. The righty to the whitey. Here comes the dollar. 2-on-1 fight. It's a no-holds-barred. 3-on-1. The son with the purse around his neck is going at the ref, too. And now Dad has a grip on the referee. And oh, my God, a swim! John Cena.
That was a big-time cartwheel.
Look at the girl.
Rounds on the dead zebra. Boys and girls, it is time for the Run It Back Turbo Instant Replay brought to you by Jimmy John's. As you see, the referee is going to slap the father from the stands, and then the father hits the whitey with the righty. Take a look at how quickly the man in the neon switches his phone from his right hand to his left hand and hits the man with the right hook. And just when the referee thought he was full hook of a second Paul type shot right there. The overhand right. The neon man is just something you cannot find in any WrestleMania. But what really stole the show was when the 4-star crew threw not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 haymakers to the dead corpse. Well, we'll see you next week. Thank you to Jimmy John's for being our sponsor. Freaky fast delivery.
Did he? Now, who was the girl?
She was one of the players.
Yeah. No, I know she's one of the players, but did she have a connection to the guy who was out there filming?
Yeah.
Because if it was just random chick jumping in, we should get her an ankle bracelet right now and fucking monitoring her because she's going to be fucking carjacking an Uber driver this weekend.
Right.
But if that was her dad,
you should be so lucky as a father.
I am going to mate her with the blonde chick who was getting in LeBron's grill at the Knicks game or whatever it is. I love that kind of the fucking vicious alliance. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, you like this. You would expect Natalia to fight for your honor.
That was Natalia.
Yeah,
right.
I would.
Okay.
I would. So hopefully. They're related in some way.
Yes. So in the wake of the fatal police shooting of Dante Wright during a traffic stop outside Minneapolis last week, city officials have approved a move toward unarmed traffic enforcers, according to Fox News. So Minneapolis City Council voted unanimously on Friday for the development of a new traffic safety division, which would be separate from the Minneapolis Police Department. The document listed 4 goals of this new enforcement division: maximizing the traffic safety benefits of traffic enforcement, eliminating racial disparities in traffic enforcement, educating the public on safe driving behaviors and traffic laws, and earning the trust of communities harmed by earlier practices. So they would not be armed. They would just come up to your car.
But they'd be police officers. They'd issue tickets.
They're not part of the police department. They're part of the traffic safety division.
Well, in as much as a meter maid as an officer,
I guess.
Right?
I'm going to file this under the homeless advocate, which is this would be awesome if it worked. It's never going to fucking work.
Well, how terrified would you be as somebody going up to somebody's car, unarmed, going, hi, you're speeding?
There's been a lot of cases of people getting shot walking up to people's cars as well. Look, there's one thing that we can do immediately, which is you have to stop wrestling with cops. You cannot resist arrest. You just can't. That'll start all the other things, the training and the less than lethal, weapons and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is probably years down the road. That's a new academy class from the academy and new technology and all sorts of stuff. And I'm all for it. But if we could just literally just comply, all this shit would go down tenfold. And no one wants to talk about it because it's not popular. But when you go all these stories, you have all these stories, motorists, this and that. Well, we tell the story where the guy's he's in the Wendy's drive-thru and he fell asleep in his car, and then they called the cops and the cops woke him up, and then he got out of the car and then he got shot in the back. Yeah, but you're skipping past the part where he wrestled both cops to the ground and grabbed one of their tasers. That's ultimately what gets you shot. The getting shot by the cop willy-nilly, just like I'm obeying and I'm in the car and I got my hands on the steering wheel, that happens, but it's insanely rare, statistically insanely rare.
Well, that's when we mentioned Philando Castillo.
Yes, that was an example of a horrible cop shooting. There was kind of that other one where it was the female, and the guy got out of the car and went to go get back in the car. The problem is trying to get back in your car. Here's the problem with cops. They're beaked up with adrenaline. When you go back to get in your car, they just think worst case scenario.
Sure.
They think you have a shotgun in your car, you have a gun under the seat, or you're going to just plow through a farmer's market or something. You're going to, so comply. If you complied, I'm trying to think, you have you have George Floyd, you have which we all got the tape with the knee on the neck, but there was another first half of that tape where he was wrestling with cops and didn't want to get in the car, and he was out of his mind on drugs, and who knows what, if he could have complied. Like, I don't even know if he was capable, like, mentally at that point for complying. But this kid who got shot, he had warrants, or a warrant, I guess. He was getting arrested, and then he broke free, and he jumped back in the car, and then the adrenaline dump, and the chick fucked up.
Yeah, it does make me wonder how long they've had tasers, because if she was, like a 26-year veteran, how do you not remember what's where?
Yeah. Yeah, I would guess also if her plan was to execute black men, she wouldn't have waited 26 years.
Just before the
long
pension
game.
kicked in.
And you probably waited till the trial was over or something. This was a bad time for her, if that in fact was her plan. That was this was bad planning from a career standpoint.
Well, and I thought about what Gary told us that Garrigus said about the Chauvin trial when he said basically it seemed like the defense felt like they had the upper hand, as far as they've gone. And I thought
they were moving for something instead of a mistrial.
Yes.
Something.
And then they said Chauvin's not testifying. So they must have thought, look, you can only screw this up. Like, we are in a good place. We're ahead of where we thought we'd be, whatever. If you stay quiet, we can stay winning. I would think that's probably a conversation they had.
Yeah, they didn't go for a mistrial, which there was an opening here for a mistrial. I guess Chauvin didn't do it. And they wrapped fairly quickly.
Right.
I can't remember what Garrigus' dad says, but the longer the defense takes, the worse the case, the worse it's going. Yeah.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see how long they deliberate. I think they start today as you hear this. And like we learned from OJ, well, I guess it was the opposite, but they said, like, if the jury comes back really fast, then it's usually conviction. If they take forever, then it's usually not. So this will be very interesting.
I also was saying, do juries go, like, reach a conclusion and then hang out because they want you to think that they've given it some thought?
Yeah, that's possible.
And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. On one like this, you wouldn't just go and come back, especially if it was innocent or something like that. You couldn't do that. You'd have
you
to
might
sit
ask
around.
to see some more evidence again. Or...
And I said, this is like when I had to give the sperm sample that time. I rubbed that shit out in like 85 seconds, and I was like, you can't burst back out of this place.
Don't tip your hand. Yeah.
Like, you can't. The chick who was in the reception, the nurse and the receptionist who was listening to Kevin and Bean, can't still be on the same commercial break when you come out with a tumbler of jizz.
Right, sure.
I have to wait till Offspring song starts up or something like that.
That's right.
So I waited.
Good. Brian, I know you've also been through this.
Yeah, no, it took me forever.
Okay, I'm sure it did. All right. Well, let's talk about more restrictions and mandates coming out here. So
that's its own kind of judgment, Brian.
I know.
You being trapped in there.
I was about to undergo cancer treatment.
Okay,
I spent an appropriate amount of time in there. In fact, I spent a little bit extra time because remember I did the thing where I put the DVD in, put it on pause, and then turn it all the way up, and then turn the TV
for the
off.
next guy.
Yeah, so when I turned the TV on, because there were DVDs of porn, and so I turned it up to like the most explicit point, put it on pause. It's a TV DVD combo, right? Like one of those old crappy things, and I turned the TV off, turned the volume all the way up, and let the next guy discover. Flood the waiting room with the sounds.
I walked in. They offered me that burnt offering. It was like a basket of porn.
Yes,
it was
porn
a basket of porn. But I travel. John Popper's harmonica vest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had that with porn DVDs. So I was just able to pull a few out. Like, what do you like?
Like
Asian, busty.
Vest.
What's your jam?
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I travel with it anyway.
I would think it would all be up here in the old noggin.
The porn basket. Empty porn. Empty clamshells. They were been stolen.
Oh, no.
Who steals? It was 2009. Who steals porn discs?
Yeah.
Do you have to choose right there in front of her which one you take?
No,
out
thankfully
of the basket?
they locked me in a room.
Is this like a JetBlue flight? The potato chips?
Here's some materials. We'll leave you to your... I'm like, okay, thank you.
That has to be really embarrassing. If somebody was like... Get in there, go to that room, and masturbate. Come out when you're done.
That's pretty sweet.
It's got to be good for the nurse who works the station, like her stepson. Like, if she ever walks in and he's beating off, and she's like, "Tommy, what? Oh, you're offended?
Oh, yeah, delicate sensibilities.
I'm sorry, Your Highness. You working at Jizz Shack? You work in a place where all guys do is beat off all fucking
You're literally
day.
Sorry,
begging them for their sperm.
So you're not clocked in.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It's gotta be weird. You know how chicks can be sexually offended pretty easily?
Sexually offended?
What I mean is like you tell any guy in any workplace, any environment, any straight guy. You come in Monday morning, Gina's like, oh, I had a dream about you, Rick. It's like, yeah, well, what was he
Tell me
fucking
more.
hoping about? And it's like, oh, you put tile in my bathroom. Like that's not what he wants.
Right,
you know?
right.
If you say, oh, it's kind of sexy, he's all ears. He's all in. He wants to know every fucking detail. He doesn't care if he's attracted to you.
Oh, wow.
This is high praise. You know
Okay,
what I mean?
yeah.
You do that shit to a woman in the workplace, it's weird.
Oh, yeah,
They
get you
get
fired.
offended,
Frowned
they get
upon.
upset. Yeah. So I'm just saying the nurse that works at the place where the guys are just 8 feet away rubbing it out all day. I'm saying she a little different cut of cloth, her sensibilities are a little different, you know what I mean? Not easily offended. It's got to be guys like coming back, making nervous jokes and stuff like that.
Here to make a deposit.
Yeah, right. They're saying dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're nervous.
I would see that.
Saying that there's got to be guys who, when they offer the basket, they go, "Nah, I just took a snapshot of you, baby." That's what I did. Hey, you're gonna wear a nurse's outfit right before you ask me to beat
You're
off?
gonna look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That math
Kinda
is usually
asking
done.
for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's so specific. It's not like you're a urologist or, even a gynecologist. You are the jizz nurse.
That's right. Oh, next Halloween. Write that down, Gina.
Okay.
It's a good outfit for
Sexy jizz nurse.
Got a wedding coming up.
That's true. So, as states around the country lift COVID-19 restrictions, Oregon may go the other way. Yahoo News reports that a top official is considering indefinitely extending rules requiring masks and social distancing in all businesses in the whole state. The proposal would keep the rules in place until they are, quote, no longer necessary to address the effects of the pandemic in the workplace. But the idea has prompted a flood of angry responses. People do not like this. They're crying government overreach. And at least 6 states have lifted mask mandates. Some never had them. In Texas, business is completely reopened to 100% capacity.
Yeah. It's weird. It's an interesting thing to try to unring a bell. So if you said, like, I walk around, I see people wearing masks outside, riding bikes, riding motorcycles, like it's a lot. And now, there's no outdoor signs, but it's sort of like saying, they said if you put this little stone in the pocket of your pants that you'll be protected from the gargoyles or something. And then at some point, and everyone does it, or most everyone does it, and then at some point, 8 months later, somebody comes out and goes, you don't have to have that stone in your pocket. There's no math or science that says the gargoyles. Most people just leave it in their pocket.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what we're seeing. I went down to the car wash on Saturday, hot, sun shining, everyone just wearing a mask, just spread out, just that part where they're waiting for their car. Everyone's just sitting alone, just waiting for a mask. Like, I don't know why the part that always amuses me is like the one chick's got it pulled down to her chin because she's sipping off the Starbucks, and it goes like right back up. She's sitting alone. Everyone is so socially distanced. They're sitting on those plastic chairs where you're waiting for the car.
Was it the one with the hand chairs on Cahuenga?
Yeah, on Ventura, Cahuenga,
thank you,
whatever,
yes.
like right there.
Yeah.
No, I like that one. But my tip is don't go stand by your car. Let the guy finish.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to bum rush
Right.
those guys, but that's where we're at. I mean, I get it.
We touched on it. It's more social norm
Exactly.
now than people like than required. or
I don't
whatever.
think people believe it anymore. I think people just don't want to be scoffed at.
I guess. I mean, I see people at the beach, people outside, people on the horse trail. I mean, yeah, I guess. Saw a guy riding a motorcycle with a mask on today.
Good for him.
Yeah, somebody sent me a tweet of a guy riding a motorcycle with no helmet and a mask on. Which
Wow.
Safety
that's
first.
an interesting relationship with danger there. But it kind of goes to show that the social pressure of the mask is, and more important than the helmet, it's kind of interesting. Here's an interesting thing. when we were traveling through Florida and we were in the car and Sonny had the blood to his legs cut off. I had to remove one of his, like that movie 27 Hours or what
Yeah,
movie?
that's right.
27.
Yeah, I had to pull a pocket knife out and
Right.
remove his right from the knee down.
Sure, he's fine.
We're in the back of that car, and Sonny, who's never really experienced anything other than Los Angeles, is like he saw guys riding motorcycles with no helmets. And he's like, hey, no helmet. Hey, no helmet. It's a big deal. His safety
right.
helmet, first world. But so here's an interesting thing. A lot of guys in Florida, most all of them, no helmets.
Okay.
Now, I like freedom, and I've ridden motorcycles and race cars and stuff like that. I wouldn't ride a motorcycle without a helmet. I'm as fast and loose with safety as anybody. I've definitely put a helmet on before I got. So, is it really all these guys that do not wear a helmet when they're riding, or are they virtue signaling the other direction?
Right. You can't tell me what
That's
to
a
do.
good point.
So,
Yeah.
and there's a community,
Right,
Right?
yes.
Like you want to have the two bikers pull up to your right and left, and you got your big helmet on, and they don't. They
Hey,
got their,
safety, Sally.
they got their bandanas
Yeah,
going,
right.
So I think it's a kind of a two-way street,
you're
pardon the
right.
pun, and I think minus any social group pressure, whatever, half those guys would wear a helmet.
Yeah.
And I think if you removed all the group pressure out of the mask would come off. But
I
it's
think you're right.
not. It's not just about safety.
It's social
about
pressure.
it's the group.
Yeah, you can get it from anywhere.
Right.
That's a great point. Well, we were talking a little McConaughey talk earlier. Let's bring it back to McConaughey. TMZ reports that his chances of winning the Texas governorship are not bad. They could be legitimate, at least based on a random sampling of 1,000 or so registered voters who say they'd vote for him. So he stacked favorably against incumbent Governor Greg Abbott in terms of winnability. So according to a new poll conducted by the Dallas Morning News and the University of Texas Tyler, found McConaughey raked in 45% of the people who were asked. The team talked to over 1,100 people, registered Texas voters, slightly more Republican than Democrat, and when asked if they'd be more likely to support McConaughey over Abbott, nearly half of them said, yeah.
Yeah, I think if anything, if we've learned any lesson in the last 20 minutes is that nobody cares anymore. I mean, about the experience or lack of experience or there's anything there. And it's a weird thing because you can go no experience and you don't like no experience, but then you can go too much experience, which is in the system.
Yes,
you're now
Right.
you're now in. This is all
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
You know, I think you want the ran a business and ran a state or a city, like this little balance of I know what it's like to be in the private sector running a business. I also know we have to deal with the legislator. Like I can deal with that, like kind of a balance.
Was Perot ahead of his time?
Probably
He's a good candidate.
as a business, super successful businessman.
Because isn't that kind of why he was like laughed at in some ways?
He's like, I'm worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
I've done something right.
Right.
And also, when you take a look at the buffoons in politics now, you just realize this are really. Yeah, and there used to be a reverence. Like when I was a kid, it's like that person must know something. Look at them.
Scholarly.
They're wearing a three-piece suit.
Right.
And tell me they don't know
Right.
something. Now it's like Twitter. What happened to politicians with all the news shows and all the back and the forth and the Twitters and all the Twitter wars and all the stuff, it's kind of the trajectory of Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was a mystery his entire first 40 years in Hollywood. It was like, he's smart. He's brilliant. Look at him. He's brilliant. Next thing you know, he's on this View, and he's like, fuck that Donald Trump, that fuck himself, and the fucking fuck that. And you're like, oh, he's not that smart. Like, he's just that dude. Like,
Right.
we got a little peek behind the curtain. I feel like that's what's happened with politicians.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think, like you said, it happens with actors because Jim Caviezel, in a movie you didn't see because it was too dusty, The Passion of the Christ.
It's Jesus.
dusty.
Yep. He made a guest appearance Friday at a right-wing convention called Clay Clark's Health and Freedom Conference. It was near Tulsa, Oklahoma, where organizers talked about COVID restrictions and what they consider the government's overreach in applying those rules. Now, Jim was plugging this movie where he portrays a guy named Tim Ballard, who I looked up on Wikipedia. He's the CEO of an organization that claims to free kids from like worldwide slavery and human trafficking. And it's part of something called like the Nazarene Fund. So I think it has, religious underpinnings. Jim mentioned one of the real problems is and this is a quote, the adrenochroming of children. And when the host asked him to explain further what that is, he tried. This is what he said, and then I'll have a little more info for you.
A child knows he's going to die. His body will secrete this adrenaline, and they have a lot of terms that they use that he takes me through. But it's the worst horror I've ever seen, is screaming alone, even if I never, ever saw it. It's beyond, and these people that do it, there'll be no mercy for them.
What is he talking about?
So it was funny.
Is that a QAnon thing?
Yeah, and I have a little more info, but when he said, adrenochrome is a thing.
Yeah.
It's real. It's a compound formed by the oxidation of adrenaline. Its main medical use is to slow blood loss by promoting clots.
You can get high from it.
Yeah, well, if you saw Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Although that's, that was blown a little out of proportion, but it's adrenaline, essentially. Now, I looked it up, and here's what they say in conspiracy circles. It's a drug of the Hollywood elite. It's addictive. It's harvested from tortured children in satanic rituals. The current strain of theory is that a huge amount of celebrities have come down with COVID-19 due to a tainted batch of adrenochrome. Adrenochrome harvesting, according to the theorists, is done by drinking blood, heart surgery, or tapping into the brainstem. So what it sounds like Jim Caviezel was talking about was the exact plot of Monsters, Inc. Because if you have a kid in the house, you've watched it a lot, where you scare kids to power the community, and at the end they try to put that thing on her face. So what I think he is referring to is someone told him, and I guess it's Tim Ballard, though he's never saw it, that somebody gets a kid alone in a room and like scares the shit out of them and then kills them and harvests their adrenochrome.
Seems like the satanic ritual part of it seems like a time suck.
It sure does.
Robes and hoods and goats and stuff. Like if you're
Forest.
just doing the most efficient way possible, number one.
Go into a med spa.
If the Mexican cartels are not doing this, it doesn't exist. Because those people have found every conceivable way to make money off the misery of other human beings.
Very good point.
And they will diversify their portfolio in a hot second. If they haven't figured out a way to turn a buck off this, I don't believe it.
They dropped weed because it wasn't profitable. You have to find something else.
Going right to fentanyl. That's right.
That's a really good point.
So is Jim Caviezel never want to work again? Is that
that's
what's
what I'm
going
saying.
on? Because it just seems like he's saying, I don't want to work anymore, or only for Mel Gibson?
It was an odd way to promote this movie, if that's what he was doing.
So he cannot... Is he a deeply religious guy?
I don't know. I mean, is that his
Christ.
connection with Mel Gibson?
I'm going to base this off something I heard a long time ago. That's why he was Jesus in that movie. I think he was up for the role.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
All right, let's see. Well, I know you love to collect stuff, Adam, and you might want to branch out. Cars are cute, but have you thought about the multiple statues of children from the Neverland Ranch?
Ooh, I could harvest their adrenal
That's
glands.
right. So several of the statues Michael Jackson had at the ranch are up for grabs, and Kaylin will show you a bunch of them while I read this. But it's a package deal. You can't just do a la carte. You got to take them all.
It's not a good story thing, though, because...
Isn't it?
Well, when you display them in your living room and then people come in and they go, guess where I bought these? Neverland Ranch? Why? How'd you know? Who the fuck else is going to have these?
That's right.
You think I can head down to the fucking garden center and get this shit? Oh, or some other, George Clooney sold me. No, this is the only place you could get these things.
That's a very good point. Well, there's 28 pieces, and it's the whole bulk of them will be sold for $2.5 million, and you'll get statues of mostly kids, including Kids and Tree Swing, Follow the Leader, Young Boy and Companion, Boy Playing Handbell, and The Footballer. $2.5 million, you get all 28.
Well, It takes all kinds, is what I want to say. It's an interesting thing that I love the aesthetic of architecture, and I love the aesthetic of a car, and I love the craftsmanship in many disciplines, but the little statues, it's kind of like, I don't know why. Yeah. I get it. It's also crazy how diverse we are in our likes.
Yeah.
Just put a song on and it'll divide the room.
Yeah.
Half the people love it, half the people
That's
hate it, or whatever.
Dirty Dancing.
How about just politically, country split exactly in half, like almost statistically, just in half?
Yeah.
How could you imagine that? Like if you were picturing another world, you'd be like, well, half of the 3/4 of the Sneetches must be here, or like, what are the policies? You just go with the smart stuff or whatever. Right. It's crazy. How many people I meet are like, I like ketchup on my hot dogs, and I like big tomato wheels as toppings on my pizza. I'm like, what?
Gross.
No. Why would you do that? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm me. I'm here to confound you.
And all the what's the store?
That's my belief.
That's why they're put on the
I'm here
door.
to upset and confound you.
What's the store on Rodeo with all the very expensive tchotchkes? Not Fabergé, Yadro.
Yadro.
Those are very, very expensive, like precious moments tchotchkes. Like people love them.
Yeah, I don't.
Thank God I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I kind of miss the Franklin Mint and all the Civil War figurines.
Oh,
and all
I think the coins.
Limited edition
Franklin,
plates.
they had plates. They had had everything.
Yep.
All right, let's bring her home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. You are the Jizners.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
PaintYourLife.com. Want to give a truly meaningful gift. Now, this is no tchotchke. PaintYourLife.com. Professional hand-painted portraits created from any photo at a truly affordable price. You send them any picture you want, yourself, your children, your family, Paul Newman race car, whatever you got. And, how about like a special place or cherished pet?
Oh, yeah.
Or you can combine them into one painting. So you can take a few things and combine them. Anyway, you choose from your team of world-class artists, and you'll work with them until every detail is perfect. User-friendly format and platform lets you order a custom hand-painted portrait in less than 5 minutes, and you get it in about 3 weeks. And it's really cool. I took a Paul Newman race car. I think it was 86 GT1 championship car. I gave him a photo, and a beautiful painting came back. You pick the frame out. It's perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, as a wedding gift. It's paintyourlife.com, right, Dawson?
At paintyourlife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now is a limited time offer. Get 20% off your painting. That's right, 20% off and free shipping. To get this special offer, text the word Adam to 64,000. That's Adam to 64,000. Text Adam to 64,000. Paint Your Life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Again, text Adam to 64,000.